Hey, Tom Rabbit! I hope you got this for your recording. Hey, YouTube out there. Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hey, Tom Rabbit!
Epistemology,
Okay.
right? I already said
Bye-bye. Okay. Here we have a 40-year-old. We have a 40-year-old stuck on 14. Okay. So I warned him over and over and over again. Okay. It's sad that a 40-year-old man reasons like a child. It's sad indeed.
Agreed.
So, Darth,
Yeah, go ahead.
can I ask you a question?
You just did.
All right. So, if it's the case that everything depends and derives on the ultimate, that being God, right? Nothing is external or independent of the ultimate God?
That would be the Christian view.
Okay, so I just wonder, how is it the case that God is capable of knowing anything if there's nothing external to him that can justify any of his beliefs? If we take knowledge to be a justified true belief.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna use that canard, right? You got that from the Angstreich crew, okay? Okay. For obviously you haven't studied theology, have you? Okay.
Okay,
Right?
can
Have you studied any theology? Okay. In the Christian worldview, God is the first knower because everything is what it is because it starts in the mind of God and it's implemented in the plan of God. Okay. The reason why human beings need justification is because we are not sovereign, we're not the creator, we're not Lord, and we're not omniscient. Okay. So you have been fed a bunch of sophistry by atheist philosophy wonks. Okay. You thought it was a good argument. It's not at all. Okay. It's called the Principium Cognoscentia. God is the source of all knowledge or beliefs that are true because they start in the mind of God. Okay. So for example, God knows that I'm an agent because he made me an agent. He knows all states of affairs because everything is under his control and under his plan. Okay. So the mistake that you're making is you are trying to anthropomorphize God. Okay. You're trying to bring God down to a human level. Okay. Since human beings do not dictate or have everything under their plan and control, and if human beings are not the prime interpreter, God is the first interpreter. We reinterpret, or I should say we recapitulate the mind of God when we correctly understand the world around us. Okay, so do you understand? And if you don't understand, I'll be glad to re-explain it to you. But do you realize how you have been bamboozled by sophistry?
No, not at all. So
Good,
I don't understand.
then we're gonna have to go again. Human beings, when we talk about knowledge, has to be justified, is because we're not sovereign and we're not omniscient. God is sovereign over everything, and he is omniscient. Okay. So what the person is trying to do is trying to anthropomorphize God, okay, and literalize that. Okay. It's just a soph. Do you know what sophism is?
I know what sophism is, using fallacious reasoning to deceive people.
No, that's not what sophism is. Okay. You're close. Sophism is using cleverly sounding arguments that are in fact fallacious. But they have an air of sophistication to them, or they seem like they're intelligent when they're not coherent. So the reason why God knows everything is because he's the first knower, because everything is what it is because it starts in the mind of God. What you are doing is you are misconceiving God. You are conceptualizing God as though God were just a superhuman. Okay. Right.
Okay, can I respond to that?
By the way, do you think people have beliefs without justification either? Because if they do, then it's just arbitrary. The difference between belief and knowledge, more often than not, is just a matter of emphasis. So God has true beliefs because he is the one where everything starts in his mind in the plan of God. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
so
are you an atheist?
Can we go back on the horn we were on?
Are you an atheist?
Yes, I'm an atheist. I want to respond
Okay,
to what you just
why
said.
was that so hard for you to answer?
Because we were on a previous topic and you were shifting
No, well,
the
yeah, you
goalpost.
could just say, yes, I am. Listen, you've already seen me kick a couple of people out there because they're being jerks. You're getting close to getting kicked out.
Okay, Darth, can
Okay?
I please respond to what you just said?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so if we take knowledge to be a justified true belief, right? I see no reason to just special plead God out of that. So God
It's
would
not special.
require.
It's not special pleading. Okay?
Yes, it is.
You are conflating when we speak of God, we speak analogically. Okay? Do you know what that means? We take with
Analogically.
the analogically, okay, as opposed to speaking univocally about God. When we speak about God, we take the things in the world that we know and we attribute it to God so that we can try to get a handle on who and what God is. But we could never speak about God and his attributes exhaustively, okay? Because we would have to be omniscient. So when we do speak about God, we have to speak analogically, take things of the world, okay? So instead of saying knowledge, we could just simply say God's mental states, okay? So all of God's mental states about the world are true. Why? It's because everything that is, can be, and cannot be starts in the mind and the plan of God. And that is how God knows it from a human perspective. So again, I'm going to remind you for a third time, you're simply repeating sophistry.
Okay, can I respond?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you saying that knowledge is not justified true belief for God?
Okay. We use human terms to describe things about God analogically. Okay. Now, we cannot speak univocally about God. Univocally means we speak with him that can only mean one and only one thing, and it means to be exhaustive. We cannot speak exhaustively about God, so we have to speak analogically. Okay. We talk about God being merciful, God being just, being love. Okay. All of these are analogs of what God is. So we can talk about God's mind, God's reason, God's beliefs, God's knowledge. Okay. But you're making the sophist mistake in thinking that God has knowledge in the same way humans do. No, we only have knowledge because it is granted to us to God through his revelatory actions. Okay. Do you understand that?
Can I
We
respond?
could not know anything were it not for God's revelatory actions, which encompasses all of creation. Those revelatory actions have to start in the mind of God. Okay? So
Okay, can I
nothing,
respond?
listen carefully. In the Christian worldview, things that are, can be, and cannot be all start in the mind of God. Do you understand that?
Yes, can I respond?
Okay, so that is how God knows everything.
Can I respond?
Sure.
Okay, so if knowledge is defined as a justified true belief,
You
then
are
God.
listen to me. Listen to me. I'm about ready to kick you out of here, okay? Because you keep on repeating the same canard over there. All you're simply doing is playing a language game, okay? I already explained to you, okay? I already explained to you, hey, IA, why do you have an open mic? You are repeating the same thing all over again. It is sophistry, okay? I already explained to you that we can only know something, okay, have a belief that is true, and there's a justificatory path. The justificatory path are the revelatory actions of God, okay? Do you accept that? In the case that the Christian worldview is true, the justificatory path are the revelatory actions of God.
If knowledge is only possible with revelation, how does God know
Okay,
everything?
listen to me carefully. Listen to me. We're talking about human knowledge, okay? Now, we have to, in order for us to know something the way God knows it, we have to recapitulate or think God's thoughts after him. Okay? Now, so when we talk about a justified true belief, we're talking about a justificatory path. Okay? Do you understand that part?
Not necessarily. I don't think justification
Okay.
needs to be
Okay.
a path.
Okay. Well, then justification would then just if there's not a justificatory path, then how would a belief be justified?
Well, it depends on what you mean by path. Like,
A justification means that there's an actual linkage between the true belief and its actual state of affairs. So a justificatory path is another way of formulating the term justified and justified true belief. There's a justificatory path, but the justificatory path is a more specific rather than general. Okay. So in order to actually know something as opposed to have putative knowledge, do you know what the word putative means?
no.
Okay. It means attributed to be the case. Okay.
Okay.
So we can only actually possess knowledge if the belief is true and that belief is the product of a justificatory path. Okay. If there is not an actual justificatory path, then we wouldn't have knowledge from a human perspective. Now, the reason why we know things is because God first knows them, because they start in the mind of God, and then it is implemented in the plan of God through his revelatory actions in creation. God's revelatory actions are not limited to, for example, him merely speaking audibly to Adam or Noah or Abraham or Moses. God's revelatory actions consist of things like you looking at the moon and seeing it shine at night, looking at your fingernails. Everything that God creates that we come into conscious awareness from is a revelatory action of God, okay? And it would not be all of the things that we come to know, okay? We could not know them were they not a creative revelatory action of God. Could you have come to know in the Christian worldview, assuming the Christian worldview for a moment, could you have come to know the moon was shining at night unless the moon shining at night started in the mind of God?
In the Christian worldview, no, God has to reveal it.
No, you're not understanding.
What?
In the Christian worldview, you could only know at a given moment that the moon was shining because the moon shining starts in the mind of God and is executed in the plan of God. Okay, you understand?
Not entirely. I just want to know what it
Okay,
means for
all right.
God to know something.
Listen to me. Do all things, all states of affairs, exist because they are a product of God's creation?
In the Christian
Sovereignty?
worldview?
Yeah, in the Christian worldview. Well, the answer is yes. So this is how God knows everything. Everything that God makes outside of himself, he knows because it all starts in the mind of God to begin with, even including acts of agency. So you can stop with this sophistry about how does God have a justified true belief. This is just a sophist argument. I've explained to you now 4 times why it's sophistry. So I suggest you drop it.
Darth, what does it mean to say that God knows something?
Okay. God knows something because God decides what his creation is going to be, in addition to his exhaustive self-consciousness of himself. The other additional things that he believes that are true, that he knows them because he decides that they are the case.
Yeah, that wasn't really a clear answer to my question.
Okay,
I just wanted a definition.
listen. I'm going to tell you right now, you are on really thin ice, and you're not only on the verge of being kicked, you're on the verge of being banned because you're being a sophist. Okay. Now, I explained to you that we say that God knows things is because all things that do come into existence and have to start in the mind of God first.
Okay, that's fine. Can we move to something new?
Sure. I'd like to know why you're an atheist.
Because I think Christianity is incoherent.
Okay, that doesn't get you to atheism. What you're now doing is baiting and switching. Atheism entails, okay, hey, enjoy your ban. Bye-bye. Okay, there we go. See? You see? They're just little trolls.
He was asking for it.
Yeah, and people say I'm not patient.
No, you definitely are. You definitely are.
Good. And you know what? He's a young, foolish young man, because now he'll have to sneak back in here under a different account, because that account he just got banned because he wanted to troll, and then laugh in my face. Well, good. Now he gets it back.
Yeah, deserved it.
By the way, did you get that Tom Rabbit?